Virgil Abloh was a respected name in the fashion industry for being the pioneer of the iconic streetwear brand Off-White. He took on the role of creative director at Louis Vuitton, giving the classic brand a new look and direction. Being a figure that so many aspiring designers and fashion enthusiasts looked up to, the whole world was shocked to hear about the sudden demise of the powerhouse just a few days ago, on November 28th. Firstly, early life and start in the fashion industry. Coming from Ghanaian American descent, Virgil was a first-generation college graduate who didn't come from much. During his early life, he faced the struggles of any African American would, but he soldiered through regardless of discrimination. Virgil Abloh wasn't just a fashion designer, but in fact a visionary according to all the people who worked closely with him, many even calling him this generation's Karl Lagerfeld. But Virgil wasn't just restricted to fashion. He was creative, interested in art, architecture, music, and even art direction. In 2009, Kanye West met with Virgil while working at Fendi and asked him to be his creative director. Abloh was the brain behind the art direction for Kanye and Jay-Z's album, for which he was nominated for a Grammy as well. While Virgil had a fondness for music and DJ'd for a while back in the early 2000s, he opened up his Off-White label in 2013. With his unique and simplistic designs and shows, Off-White quickly gained a cult following, given the waves the brand was making in the streetwear industry. Next up, his collaborations with other brands. Virgil wasn't just restricted to his brand. In fact, he loved to branch out and collab with various big-name designers like Dyer, Fendi, and even made shoes with Nike. We know how everyone is dying to get their hands on those standout sneakers. He knew his way around the industry, and with friends in many places, he was able to spread his vision across various collections and brand deals, never restricting himself to one genre. Setting a new record in 2018, Virgil became the first ever black man at Louis Vuitton to become the creative director for the menswear line. Despite any formal training in fashion design, Virgil quickly rose to the top, with his work even being displayed at the Louvre. His time at Louis Vuitton was a rather interesting one. People saw the never-done-before marriage between classic and streetwear, which of course became a big hit. Everyone is on the lookout for something new, and that's exactly what Virgil knew how to provide. Now, let's look at iconic moments in the industry. Even those who didn't know Virgil before can probably tell by now what a trailblazing person he was, who didn't leave any stone unturned. He had a bachelor's in engineering and a master's in architecture, so there's quite literally nothing the man couldn't do. Taking a look at some of his most iconic accolades, we can't forget the redesign he did for Drake's private jet. He created a 30-seater plane for Air Drake, which was covered in fluffy clouds that blended in well with the actual sky. I'm sure everyone remembers Hailey Bieber's white sheer wedding dress, the likes of which no one had ever seen before. Well, it's no shocker that Virgil was the master behind the gown. Hailey knew that Virgil was the man for her, and he delivered exactly what she wanted, making her bridal looks one of the most iconic ones from last year. Virgil was somewhat of an expert at album art too. He designed the cover for Kanye's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and A$AP Rocky's Long Live A$AP, for which he received a lot of praise. He was also responsible for Serena Williams' runway-ready yet sporty looks on the tennis court, which the world had never seen previously. I mean, a tennis player in a tutu? Who would have thought? And the most iconic of all, Kid Cudi's white floral dress during his SNL performance, which was a tribute to the late Kurt Cobain. Three legends in one. Virgil Abloh's sudden death. November 28th was a seemingly regular day until the team at Louis Vuitton took to social media to post about the sad demise of their menswear creative. Initially, the news didn't feel real to most people, given Virgil's young age and silence during his battle with cancer. Virgil wasn't just a public figure, but also a father and husband who liked to keep his family life private and away from the camera. His family commented after his passing that he was diagnosed with a rare type of cancer back in 2018, although he wanted to go through this time privately. As the world saw the talented creative who continued to excel in the fashion world, behind the scenes, a brave man was putting up a front to disguise his ailment. And he did a great job at hiding his cancer, since most fans were hearing about it for the first time. He lost his battle with cancer at 41, yet he died doing what he loved, and he didn't give up any of his passions until the end. His life may have been short, but it was a full one, and the accolades under his belt might take some of their entire life in achieving. Tribute to the late designer. Louis Vuitton paid tribute to Virgil just 2 days after his passing in the Miami show showcasing their Spring-Summer 2022 collection. The CEO, Michael Burke, talked about how the idea of this trunk show was born 3 years ago in a meeting with Virgil, and his vision was a modern spin on 21st century fashion. Virgil was one of a kind in this generation, and the LV show performed the role of a final send-off for the icon. The show marked a special day of celebrating the larger-than-life personality of Virgil, showing that even though he may be gone, his vision and ideology live on among us, especially the countless people his vision had touched. Before the models cascaded along the runway, Burke made a speech in honor of Virgil, talking about how his successful time at LV had helped revive the brand. Many included the Kardashian family, Rihanna, and Amina Muaddi were in attendance in this particular show. The LV show was the perfect last hurrah for Virgil, given that from the clothes to the dimly lit runway, the set design and even the music were all of his vision, an amalgamation of his entire personality summed up in one event. Among the most notable features of the show was the light projection, which depicted a paper plane flying into the horizon, featuring the phrase, "Virgil was here." Celebrities' response to the news. People saw a blanket of sadness take over social media as soon as Virgil's demise broke. While many people didn't know how to process the gut-wrenching news, we saw many of his close friends sharing their favorite memories with Virgil. There was a flood of heartwarming and intimate pictures paired with tidbits from the life of Virgil that everyone got to read and cherish. Models like Kendall Jenner, Bella Hadid, and Hailey Bieber were among the first ones to take to Instagram to praise and celebrate Virgil's life work. Hailey, whose wedding dress was made by her good friend, talked about Virgil's extraordinary vision and ability to execute the craziest ideas, while fellow designer Amina Muaddi shared the significant influence Virgil had in giving her inspiration and advice when it came to work. Frank Ocean came out of social media hibernation to post about Virgil and the beautiful friendship between the two. He spoke about Virgil's grounded and humble nature, always ready to help and inspire. Looking at social media, it was clear to see Virgil's massive impact on people from all walks of life and backgrounds. He touched many souls during his life, and despite his absence, his work will live on. Bittersweet, right? Virgil's vision for the future. Virgil often said, "Everything I do is for the 17-year-old version of myself." He didn't just believe in designing, but his belief lay in the future generations creating and carrying on the vision to dare to be different. Combining his passion for the Black Lives Matter movement and his love for design, he took out time to encourage and mentor emerging Black artists in the industry. But his efforts didn't just stop there. Virgil set up the Postmodern Scholarship Fund to help support young Black designers to pursue their dreams, for which he raised $1 million. He collaborated with the Fashion Scholarship Fund to shortlist 20 talented and deserving students to provide financial aid for their undergraduate education. Virgil's job didn't just end after setting up the fund. In fact, the real work started afterward, showing a sense of urgency. Virgil was determined to make sure the vision reached fruition too. Unlike we've ever seen before, Virgil truly cared about the youth as much as he said he did. Even after setting up the fund and helping dozens of aspiring designers, he took out time from his busy schedule to mentor and coach these kids whenever he could. Even as he neared the end of his journey, he wanted to ensure that the fund was smooth running, and despite his departure, the children would continue to benefit. That's a wrap for this video. What's your favorite moment from Virgil's fashion journey? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one!